CBS News colleague Jeff Glor is speaking now with Anna Werner, who is near the scene where suspect David Sweat was shot.
He was shot by police, he was wounded, and he's being treated by medical personnel here at the hospital. We understand he was shot in a town a few miles south of the Canadian border, the town of Constable. We don't have all the details on exactly how that happened, but he was shot, brought here late this afternoon. He was brought here roughly 45 minutes ago or so, and there's a very large police presence here, as you can imagine. You'll recall Sweat is the escapee that eluded police on Friday when Border Patrol agents were able to find Richard Matt, the other escapee. Matt, of course, was shot and killed there at the scene by those Border Patrol agents from an elite national team. And however, Sweat they've been hunting for the last 2 days, roughly 48 hours after Richard Matt was killed. They now found David Sweat, and again, he is here at the hospital. He is wounded, but he's being treated. He's still alive as far as we know.
And so, Anna, we're talking about two different teams here, though, right? This tactical team was the one that found and shot Richard Matt, and it was state troopers, we understand, who shot David Sweat.
That's our understanding from what we're hearing thus far. We believe that it was New York State Police that actually shot David Sweat. That's what we're led to believe at this moment. The previous team that shot and killed Richard Matt was Border Patrol agents. But again, David Sweat is not dead. He's here in the hospital. He was wounded, and he's being treated for those wounds by medical personnel.
Anna, we also got this autopsy report today as well from the coroner in Albany on the body of Richard Matt. We know that he actually said that he seemed to be in decent shape, that he had been eating and drinking well and had some injuries consistent with spending some time in the woods, but otherwise was in relatively good shape, no?
Yeah, that's what the report said. The coroner's report indicated that he had been, he died from gunshot wounds to the head. We do know that. We also know from sources that he was drunk and ill with dysentery, at the time that he was shot and killed. So CBS sources indicate that he may have been a little bit sicker than perhaps what that autopsy report suggests, but they do say in the report that he was in relatively good shape considering spending 3 weeks outdoors. Of course, we know that these two escapees were taking advantage of hunting cabins wherever they could. Police had said that they were stealing items. We know that the most recent cabin they were in, there was a pair of binoculars and a pair of boots stolen. We know at one of the other cabins, they were apparently interrupted by a resident as they were eating peanut butter and drinking water. One of them was. So we do know that they have been taking advantage of the area up here where these hunting cabins have been. But, you know, we were driving through these wooded areas today. We drove down a very remote wooded road in the area where one of these cabins was. And let me tell you, walking through there, even trying to walk up and down these hills around these trees, had to be exhausting for these two escapees, just getting through there, fighting through the terrain, the hills, the trees, wooded areas, and all the bugs there. So I know that autopsy report said that Richard Matt was suffering from the effects of some of those things, bug bites and whatnot. And of course, that he was, the cause of his death was being shot in the head several times, as we understand it, by those Border Patrol agents, Jeff.
It's also, Anna, gotten significantly colder there, right? And it's been raining a lot.
It's been raining today. Yesterday was beautiful and sunny. Today has been raining pretty much all day. It is colder, probably in the 50s right now would be my guess just standing out here. But nasty weather, and you know, maybe that helped police. Maybe that hurt David Sweat. I know that police have been saying they were waiting for them to make mistakes, and now we know that Richard Matt and David Sweat made enough mistakes that they both now have been caught. Richard Matt, unfortunately, died from his escape plans, and David Sweat has been wounded. We're waiting to hear, at some point here, what police are learning from him, if anything.
Geographically, again, Anna, quickly, talk about the difference between where Sweat was shot and captured and where Matt was shot and killed.
What we understand is that Sweat was shot and captured in the town of Constable, a few miles south of the Canadian border. We're in Malone, which is not that far from the border. And then Richard Matt on Friday was shot and killed by Border Patrol agents about 5 or 6 miles south of here. So it appears that David Sweat made some good distance. He was able to make it several miles at least. before he ran into police and was caught.
All right, Anna Werner, we'll hear much more from you tonight on the CBS Evening News.